If you saw that last video on writing a book and steps to publication, that was a lot of information. And I know I got a little bit mixed up in what number I was on. So I am going to give you a rapid review of steps to writing a book. And then we're going to pick it back up again where I am now with the formatter, and we are getting her done to publication. Hope you'll join me. Well, thank you all for being here for part 2 of Steps to Writing a Book all the way to publication. I know it was a lot of, hopefully not too much mumbo jumbo, but let's go through. I think we ended on step 13 or 14. I've got 25 in all. Number 1 is I started out to write my book with blogging, and that was back in 2018, and I didn't actually start writing the book probably till 2020, but the blogging helped to keep things in order and to be able to remember things to incorporate into the book. Number 2 is I brainstormed titles. Number 3, I made a rough draft of the chapter titles, and I do have notes here. Then number 4 was I started writing the actual book, many different cool locations where my creative juices were flowing, and I would write for hours at a time, and then I wouldn't pick it back up again for a few months, depending upon where I was at and what I was doing. When I was working on the road, I wasn't writing my book. And this is, like I said, over the course of almost 4 years. Number 5 is I put out there on my channel that I was looking for an editor, and someone came through and volunteered their services. And we worked together for a while, and then it didn't work out. So number 6, then fast forward 3 months after that editor, I found a new editor who gifted me her services, and I'm forever grateful. And we started working together for 9 months. Number 7, I sent her my cover when we were totally done and got her feedback, which was a thumbs up. And so that was very exciting. And I thought I was near the finish line for writing. Number 8, God told me I wasn't done writing. So back to the drawing board. And I went through in the last video all the different things that I needed to do to complete my book, from overused words to embellishing to fillers to getting things in a better chronological order, all of it. That was number 8. Then number 9 is I started going through all of my links, over 170, to make sure that they were all working and that the titles made sense. And then number 10, I emailed to find a formatter, and that was recommended to me by Erin, and so I knew that I had secured a formatter. This is where it got a little jumbly in the last video, is number 11, I started working on photos. I went through all my files, thousands of photos, and I was like, all the photos are numbered. They've got these weird numbers, and I had to go through and write everything down of all the photos that I thought of. And then I probably had over 200, and I didn't want to put 200 photos in, so I eliminated some and came up with 153 photos that I wanted to show in my book. Almost like a journey in pictures. You know, if you're not much of a reader, the pictures are awesome. That was number 11. And then number 12, I wrote additional pieces, and that was a little bit misleading in the last one. I was already done doing my fillers and a couple additional chapters. The additional pieces was about the author, the epilogue, and the prologue. Those were the pieces that I waited till last to do. It was something about like, okay, this is the real deal. We're almost done, Linda. These pieces have to be written. So I really put those off to the last minute. And then number 13 was I prayed a lot. I took deep breaths, and I said, this is it. And in between, a lot of light sleeping, because that manuscript kept spinning in my head. I didn't show you, but I did mention to you that 3 or 4 times I went and got copies made at UPS. And this is what I worked from. So each time I got a copy, I put it in this binder. And I like to work from a hard copy, not from looking on my phone or looking on my laptop. So I did a lot of editing by having things put in a binder with a hard copy. So I've got the cover here, and then on the back, I actually printed out the cover and the back cover. So I don't know if I'll keep this forever or not, but this is, there was still things in here, yeah, that I still had to make some changes. If you can see the little ink pieces, I don't know. So this was like almost the finished. So then, I think now we're on to the rest of this journey in writing a book to publication. After number 13 was pray, the deep breaths, and saying, this is it. I sent the working files from Erin to the formatter. Her name is Heather. She was excellent, but there was a lot of stress involved too, because we had a couple hiccups and glitches along the way. After I sent her the PDF file, about 2 weeks later, give or take, she sent me back the formatted book, like where you could actually open it up and it was like a book. It was really cool. I had never seen anything like it. And she also sent me the PDF to make corrections. And that is where the glitch began. Instead of me just making what I had mentioned to her, and there was a misunderstanding. I'm telling you, emails can create trouble. She was all about emailing. She was not about talking on the phone at all. And I understand that to a degree, but I came from a place in my life where communicating on the phone and making sure each other understands what's going on is much better than something lost in an email. And that happened a few times, just saying. So she sent me the formatted book. I had mentioned to her that there was a couple places, like it was still haunting me in the middle of the night, where I didn't get a comma right, or I had too many commas. And even though I had pretty much put it aside in my brain, it was still on a daily basis, it was just spinning inside of me. And she said, yeah, you can do any kind of editing you want after when I send you this, and put your commas in. I'm like, okay, cool. She gave me the open slate to do that. She did not tell me to not do it in Google Docs. That's where I worked from. I didn't just do commas. I did a lot of going back through Grammarly. That haunted me. And luckily, and you'll understand in a minute, luckily, I wrote down on paper every place where I was making a change. I'm like, Linda, you don't really need to write it down. Just make the change. Just wrote over and over again where I had found things that needed to be changed by learning about sentence structure, things that I mentioned in the last video. So every time I made a change, I wrote it down. Okay, so I send her the re-edited copy. She emails me back and says, this is all messed up, the formatting. I'm like, what? Like, I had no idea. Something that can make you like sick to your stomach. She says, this is going to be a lot of work to put this back in formatted. She said, I forgot to tell you to not edit in Google Docs, but to download it into Word. What do I know? What do I know? Well, she owned up to it, never charged me any extra for this. But when she sent it back, okay, so that was number 15. 14 was I sent her the formatted. 15, the commas were haunting me and everything that I just mentioned. Now we're on to 16. I went back through it with a fine-tooth comb. After she sent me the files that had been messed up, I went through it back with a fine-tooth comb. Reason, I would have never been able to catch all the things that I had changed. And she didn't find all of the corrections that I had made. She was probably missing 10 or 15 anyways. So thankfully I had them all written down. Somehow she hadn't caught all of them. I don't know how she did things on her end, but we're only emailing. We're not even talking. We talked to each other one time on the phone probably in 6 weeks. It was crazy to me. So anyways, that was a major glitch that we got through. And then finally, ta-da, number 17, I started tweaking the cover. And I had lots and lots of samples that I like to print out, even though it was using a lot of glue, where I would change the fonts, I would work the pictures a little bit better. Knowing that Erin had liked the cover, I never deviated from these pictures that I had chosen. Probably took me 4 or 5 hours to work on the cover and find the photos that I wanted, and they're all meaningful. I think I shared those with you in a previous video. But anyways, I was working on Canva. It was an app on my phone, so I was basically designing it on my phone and some on the laptop. All right, now number 18, we're getting really serious. Heather said, when we're all done, when I'm at the stage of sending you the final PDF, I need the ISBN number. Have you ever had something in your life where you know you've got to do this final thing, but you put it off because you know it's final when you're doing it? That's what I did. I knew I needed an ISBN, but something in me was like, I don't understand the ISBNs. I don't want to spend $100 on an ISBN. Well, you go to Bowker, Bowker, and then they have an affiliate that they work with. And I was like, I don't know, me about saving money. I emailed them and said, hey, do you have any coupons? Do you have any discount code? Well, they gave me $10 off, and they work directly with Bowker. So I got my ISBN. I sent that to Heather. Number 19 is I started to work on the back cover. I was like, oh my gosh, we are really getting to the finish line now. Back cover. And again, I was doing this in Canva, you know, where you put a little bit about the author. I don't know what I was thinking, but I really put this off to the last minute. And I knew from doing a book before that you just don't have a solid back cover, and you've got to put your ISBN in there. And so it was so cool, but I took it to Robbie and Larry, my neighbors, and they tweaked a couple things for me, which were beautiful, beautiful things that it really helps to have a second set of eyes. And I'll tell you, if I hadn't been in this journey for 3.5 years, I probably would have had, well, I did have, 2 different editors read the book, but the first one, my book was so different after we had, worked together for a very short amount of time that probably should have given it to somebody to read, and I just didn't know who or what. And I knew that the book was lengthy, and I knew that it was in good hands with Erin, and so I let it go. But I was so thankful that I shared, hey, Robbie, will you look at the back cover here and tell me what you think? And so I got her stamp of approval after a couple little tweaks. Number 20, back cover was number 19, 20, pricing. What am I going to charge? I researched other Nomad books, page counts, about Nomad books, not just any kind of book. And I was like, what do I charge? What do I charge? Well, I came up with $16.95 for the print, and I can't remember what the $8.95 for the ebook. I know a few of you have bought both, and I recommend that too, because you'll get the color photos and you'll get all the links in the ebook. Just some food for thought. Anyways, that was a bunny trail. So I finally came up with a price after I did pray about that as well. It's number 20. And then number 21 is, let's see, what is number 21? I transferred the, I watched some, I guess I watched some more videos is number 21. I'm getting a little confused on what I wrote here. Watched more videos on pricing and books and such. And then number 22 is I watched a couple videos on submitting my publication to Amazon. Now, I had done that years ago. Like, I put in watch later, like, because I knew that I would be at that place someday. I just didn't want to look at it. I was like, I can't do this extra stress of how to get this on Amazon. And, you know, sometimes things in my mind, I don't know if you do this, but I make it bigger than what it is. It's really not that big of a deal, Linda. You can do this. So, number 23, I'm studying about Amazon, is I received the final files from Heather. The EPUB, they call it an EPUB, e-publication, and a PDF. Went on to my laptop to approve them. Well, something wasn't showing up in EPUB, and I'm like, there were some missing pictures, and she's like, no, they're there, they're there. So she said, why not download a different application to look at your e-publication? So that's what I did, and they did show up. But I was, again, in panic mode. Keep with it, keep with it. I had to upload it to Amazon. Again, I watched videos. I was even watching a video, him talking to me, and I'm working it on my laptop and transferring from Canva to get it into Kindle, the size, the formatting, lots of steps that I wouldn't do it justice to tell you those steps. I'm just telling you that you can YouTube anything. You probably know this. You can search anything on YouTube and you'll find it on the how-to, and they are much more concise in how to do that. But you do take your file from Canva and you take it to Kindle, but you have to download like where they show you the cut marks and where they show you the print marks and all of that, and then you have to upload it to the Amazon Kindle site. Number 25, the very last thing. I announced it on YouTube, on my channel. Thank you all. And then I needed to sit back and wait and see as people ordered the book. And many of you have ordered the book, and I am so grateful. At this juncture, there is more to do. More to do. I put it to bed for a while. I just wanted to relish in the excitement of the book is out. It's finally out. It's made it to print. It's made it to print. I ordered some copies. You might have already seen in a previous video. I only ordered like 10. I was like, do I order 100? Do I order 50? Back in the day, I had ordered, I think it was 3,000 or 5,000 of my Rising from the Ruins. What was I thinking? I wanted to keep the cost down, and there was no such thing as publishing it on Amazon at the time. And I was a motivational speaker, and I thought I'd have 1 million back of the room sales. Well, that didn't happen. So now we've gone from ordering thousands to I have 10 on hand. And I've given a couple away. And besides that, I'll take some with me to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. And just one-on-one as I'm talking to you, you'll know that I have the book on hand if you want a signed copy right then and there. $16.95, Rut to Revival. But like I said, there's always more to do. There's something called Ingram Sparks, which is part of getting it out there on Barnes & Noble online. I want to market at craft shows down the road. I think it would be very cool to market the book along with Say It, Display It, being a digital nomad and living on the road and having that business. So my product with my book will go hand in hand. I'd like to blog. I'd like to pick up my blog again. My blog on WordPress is very old, sereneandsimplelife.com. So I'd like to reactivate getting involved with my blog. I used to be on Instagram in a big way. I'm not on there anymore. But that's it, guys. That's it. This is the part 2 of the 25 steps in writing a book to publication. I hope you got some good information. I hope it might inspire you to write your own book as well. They say never, but I feel, and maybe it's just because I've come down off of so much work over the last 4 years, that I won't be writing another book. Just live happily ever after, part-time in a tiny home and part-time on the road, and not put this project upon me again. It was fun, and there was times when it was very, very stressful, and it wasn't fun at all. So you could say I'm kind of over it, especially the parts of where I had to dig in and get sentence structure correct and all of that good stuff. It just wasn't fun. Your enthusiasm for the book and knowing that it's helping people makes it all worthwhile. But yeah, get started on your own book. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for subscribing and clicking the bell. I hope you'll give this one a thumbs up, and if you haven't watched part 1, that you'll go back and watch that. And with that, blessings in your day and joy in your journey.